So one game that I've been playing kind of non-stop is Boom Blox. You know, the Steven Spielberg game. It's pretty amazing. One of my favorite games is Marble Madness, and in some ways, like, I see a connection between this and Marble Madness, which is like, part of what made Marble Madness so great is like the way it feels. You know, it was just the D-pad or whatever on the NES, which is the only way I ever played it. It just felt so right with the D-pad, moving the marble around and everything. And the levels are like, you know, they start out super easy, but you sort of have to do it perfect. It really like lends itself to making you want to do everything like absolutely perfectly, and I'm finding myself doing the same thing with Boom Blox. The way I played it was that like I like force myself not to move on to the next thing until I got gold on the thing before. A lot of the challenges are just like really kind of silly. I forget what to do here. Oh yeah, so you just blow, so here's the thing, you just blow up that thing, and then this bomb block moves down. I think that was it. So some of them are points based, some of them are, some of the challenges are you have to do things in a certain number of throws. So like with the gem blocks, like this one's fun. So if you want to get the gold, you have to knock this whole thing down in one throw. I don't know how I did it before. I seem to remember doing something in the middle here. Two hits is easy. Relatively easy. Ooh. So yeah, you get the idea. There's all kinds of other things. There's these vanish blocks. Here's one that uses bombs and vanish blocks. So knock out the vanish blocks. Okay, and then this is my last throw. Boom. So then there's chemical blocks. When I combine this green block and this green block, they will blow up. So I have to make them meet. Basically the way you do that is you knock out the bottom, it falls and explodes. How awesome is that? I mean, that's just like totally such a fun idea. You know, and I guess the story is that Steven Spielberg as a kid like played with trains, you know, and he would like set up the whole train set, and then he would do like everybody does, which like the first thing you do is like make the trains run into each other. I like did the exact same thing as a kid. I had these like windy cars, like you would wind them back and then they would go when they would had loop-de-loops and all kinds of things, and like you make tracks for them. And yeah, of course, like the main thing you would do is you would make this huge elaborate thing track and then have them just like run into each other. Probably my favorite toy, like most consistently as a child, were these like really like beautiful heavy wooden blocks, like just whole stacks of them. And I would build like huge towers, and then the joy of knocking them down. And that's like the entire idea behind this game. Then there's the grab tool, and this is kind of the coolest thing. This is where the Jenga comes in, right? So now instead of knocking things down or trying to get points, every time you take out a block successfully without knocking this negative block down, you get another point up here. So I've gotten kind of pretty good at this, I think. Watch, I'm gonna mess up for sure, but yeah, there it goes. Well, let me just show you this, where basically you can grab things. When you grab them, they become like, you know, tools of destruction basically, and they're on this like string, and you can like kick the crap out of it. It's like, that's fun. I mean, I could do that all day. So I just started doing the adventure mode, which is, I guess, essentially the same thing, except it has just like a story behind it. A lot of people sort of complain about the cutesy factor, and I do wonder how much you're going to be turned off by, you know, this stupid story mode where it's like, the Bars of Wellington went on a quest. You know, like, it is kind of lame. I can imagine being a kid and like really being into this. But again, I'm an adult and I'm like really into this. This is like totally my type of game. Is this what I did last time? I think it is. Oh, weird. See, that's like, One of the weird things is the ricochet effect. Like, sometimes you can really use it to great, to great effect, but other times it just doesn't work and it's really hard to use. Oh, I might have done it this time. God. Yes, 2 throws. Sweet. I did go do a talk on this game at GDC, and I learned about how Steven Speilberg was like really directly involved in the making of the game. He had a lot of time to devote, like I think he was there every week giving input. One of the most interesting things I learned about the development, though, was how sort of indie it was, and this was like sort of their word, this was their way of describing it. You imagine EA is like the big publisher. They're thought of as sort of a cookie cutter, just like get them in, get them out, make a lot of money. But with this game, of course, they had Steven Spielberg, so they the team, it was a very small team to begin with, and they had sort of free reign to just sort of try to bring his vision to life. His vision was essentially, there's a bunch of blocks and you're trying to knock them down or not knock them down. And that's basically the whole game. So the way that they developed the game was just prototyping, which you always hear about with indie developers. It's all about like iterations, like, just put something together, see if it works, see if it's fun, start over, put something else together, keep trying different things, and in this way they came up with so many different cool, fun things to do within this block knocking down context. It was really cool hearing about how, like, at a publisher like EA, they were able to sort of create this small little enclave, this culture of experimentation. One other funny story that he told was about how they ended up doing like a EA-wide like play test of sort of early builds of the game, just to see people's reactions. And when people started learning about how that team was making this game, everybody wanted to work on the game. They're like, oh, that's how we want to be working, not like on these schedules and on these like, that's not how you're supposed to make games. Like, we should be making games like you're making games, just going at it, just like more like an artist, like an artist just, throws paint on a canvas and sees what happens, or I like strum some chords and see what comes out. What the takeaway from the talk was that, there needs to be room for both. With a game like this, or in a game that is really complicated, there's just all these different factors that have to be taken into account. Anyway, that's it. Go buy it. Go to the store and get it right now. It's really good. It's really good. It's a really good game. It's really fun. Yeah.